God bless all of you for coming here from all over the world to honor and celebrate my Charlie.
Erika Kirk has suddenly become one of the most talked about and controversial names in America right now. The internet is in overdrive, filled with wild claims, heated debates, and endless opinions about her every move. In just a few short months, she's gone from a grieving widow to standing right in the middle of total chaos. What's wild is that some of the things being said about her sound straight out of a movie. People online are spinning stories, blending fact with fiction, while others are coming for her over things she actually said herself. It's gotten so out of hand that even fact checkers are stepping in, trying to untangle what's real from what's just made up. And you have to hear this whole situation to believe it. Erika's now in charge as CEO and public face of a massive organization, a position that brings its own level of pressure and attention. And as if being pushed into the spotlight after losing her husband wasn't already difficult enough, now she's facing an online storm unlike anything we've seen. From theories about her background to criticism of her parenting advice, every detail of her life is being dissected. People are questioning her charity work, her interviews, and even the way she presents herself publicly.
After the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, today the organization he co-founded, Turning Point, named Kirk's wife Erika their new CEO and chair of the board.
Some of the claims have been so over the top that major fact-checking outlets had to step in and say, wait a minute, that's not even remotely accurate. Still, not everything is fake. Mixed in with all the noise, there are genuine questions and fair criticism about her choices and statements that have sparked real conversations and real frustration across the country. We need to talk about how Erika Kirk's entire world flipped upside down overnight, and why she's now become such a lightning rod for nonstop controversy. The reactions to her story are absolutely wild. Now, we're not going to rehash who Erika is or what happened to Charlie Kirk. That part everyone already knows. But back in September 2025, everything in Erika's life changed in an instant. She was suddenly left raising their two young kids, a 3-year-old daughter and a 1-year-old son, while trying to navigate a tidal wave of public attention. Before all of this chaos, Erika was already used to being in the spotlight. She won Miss Arizona in 2012, hosted her own podcast, ran a faith-based clothing line, and was heavily involved in her husband's work. The couple married in 2021, and to the outside world, they looked like the perfect power duo, polished, in love, and unstoppable. But after Charlie's sudden passing, everything shifted.
Being called a dark moment for America, the targeted shooting of conservative political activist Charlie Kirk during an outdoor event at Utah Valley University.
Within just days, Turning Point USA announced that Erika would be stepping in as the new CEO, an enormous move that placed her right at the head of one of the most talked about organizations in the country. Overnight, she went from being the supportive partner behind the scenes to the one holding the reins, and that's when the chaos really began. Almost immediately, the internet exploded with rumors and speculation. People began digging into her past, uncovering projects she had worked on years before. One of those was a charitable effort she ran between 2011 and 2015 called Romanian Angels. The program organized Christmas gifts for orphans with donations from Americans and help from U.S. military personnel stationed in Romania to deliver the presents. It was a heartfelt and wholesome initiative that spread joy to children who needed it most. Somehow, that wholesome charity story got twisted into outrageous claims that spread like wildfire online. People started pushing insane theories, saying Erika was tied to international child trafficking, sending kids to secret locations, or even being banned from Romania. It got completely out of control. The rumors were so extreme and so fast-spreading that major fact-checking organizations, including Snopes, PolitiFact, Reuters, and Lead Stories.
I know we can't understand God's plan, but have you had bouts of anger? I know you don't ever feel angry against God, but I kind of do.
The enemy would love for me to be angry. He would love.
Had to step in and investigate every single claim. And after digging deep, what did they find? Absolutely nothing. No evidence, no record, not even a hint of truth. Fact checkers searched Romanian court archives, contacted news outlets in Romania, and reached out directly to the charities Erika had worked with. And all of them came back with the same result. There was zero proof behind any of the allegations. In fact, Romanian newspapers from that period only reported positively on her charity program. One of her main partner groups, United Hands Romania, even confirmed they worked closely with her and never once heard of any accusations. There were no investigations, no bans, and no official reports, nothing! The entire scandal was built on pure fiction. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The timing of those wild stories was no accident. They started spreading right after Erika was appointed CEO of Turning Point USA, right when she was stepping into one of the biggest leadership roles of her life. It almost felt like someone wanted to knock her down before she could even settle into her new position. Coincidence? Highly unlikely. Still, while those viral rumors were totally false, Erika soon started facing real backlash, this time for things she actually said publicly. And that's when the conversation around her began to shift in a serious way. During an interview on the Megyn Kelly Show, Erika shared her personal views about family and career choices.
As Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her, my husband laid down his life for me, for our nation.
She told young women they shouldn't wait too long to have children, saying, "You can always have a career, but you can't always go back to having kids." On paper, that might sound like simple advice, but it caused a storm online. Critics accused her of putting unfair pressure on young women, especially those struggling to make ends meet. Many felt her comments were out of touch with the financial reality most people face today, where rent, childcare, and basic costs are higher than ever. That's when the tide began to turn, and public opinion around Erika started to change dramatically. One social media user didn't hold back, saying it was cruel to encourage people to have children when they can barely afford to care for them. That comment set off a wave of backlash, and soon people started calling Erika out for being hypocritical. Why? Because Erika herself didn't have her first child until her mid-30s, after earning advanced degrees, building her career, and securing stability. So when she told younger women in their 20s to have kids early and figure it out later, many felt her words rang hollow. To critics, it felt like she was preaching one thing while living another. Easy for her to say, they argued, when she had already built her life and financial security first. But the criticism didn't stop there. Every single thing Erika did started getting dissected under a microscope, including her emotional appearance at Charlie's massive memorial service held at State Farm Stadium, which drew nearly 90,000 attendees. She gave a heartfelt speech saying that the answer to hate is not hate.
Especially if you're a young woman, don't put it off. You can always have a career. You can always, go back to work. You can never just go back to having children. And they grow so fast and so quickly, but
the answer is love. It was a deeply emotional moment that left many in tears. Still, the internet being the internet, some people claimed her tears were fake, calling her performance too polished or too emotional. Others accused her of acting inappropriate during public moments with high profiles. The criticism got so intense that even comedian John Cleese chimed in online, fueling conspiracy-style chatter that she might have been exaggerating her grief, and that caused major outrage. What most people don't know, though, is what Erika revealed in a Fox News interview with Jesse Waters. She shared how her 3-year-old daughter keeps asking when her dad is coming back. Erika said she tells her little girl, "If you ever want to talk to daddy, just look up at the sky and start talking. He can hear you." The child even asked if she could visit heaven one day to see him. That's absolutely heartbreaking. Whatever people think about Erika's politics or public image, that's a level of pain and responsibility few could ever understand. She's not just navigating enormous grief, she's also running a national organization and raising 2 young children while facing a tidal wave of public scrutiny and online rumors. Yet even through all that, Erika has stayed determined to continue her husband's mission. She vowed to keep the American Comeback Tour alive, maintain his radio and podcast presence, and expand Turning Point USA's reach. To some, this makes her an inspiration.
That young man, I forgive him.
A woman standing tall through tragedy, but others see it differently, believing she's using her husband's passing to strengthen her influence and public image. The country seems split. One side sees a widow courageously honoring her late husband's legacy while juggling motherhood and leadership. The other side believes she's leveraging sympathy for power. Either way, Erika Kirk has become one of the most polarizing figures in modern America, and her story isn't slowing down anytime soon. What's fascinating is how divided the public has become about Erika Kirk. Depending on who you ask, she's either a misunderstood woman doing her best under impossible circumstances, or a calculated operator who's mastered the art of controlling a narrative. The truth, as always, seems buried somewhere in between. After her emotional memorial speech, Erika began doing more interviews, podcasts, and speaking events, which only intensified the debate around her. Every appearance added another layer of intrigue. Supporters praised her for holding herself together and continuing her husband's mission. Critics accused her of turning her grief into a brand, saying she was turning tragedy into a stage. It became one of those rare cultural moments where the entire internet seemed to have an opinion. Her interviews touched on everything from motherhood to faith, leadership, and even forgiveness. Erika spoke often about choosing grace over anger, about focusing on purpose when everything feels broken. And yet for some, her calmness felt rehearsed. They wondered how someone could go through such personal pain and still speak so composedly on national television.
Some letters and, Daddy is orchestrating from heaven to make sure that you always feel so loved. And the other day she was like, tell me about Daddy's day in heaven.
Some called her resilient. Others said she was emotionally distant. The truth is, Erika has always had a strong media presence. Long before she was a widow, she knew how to speak to an audience, how to sound polished and confident. She had trained in communication, hosted her own shows, and built businesses from scratch. So when she stepped into the public spotlight again, many felt she seemed too ready. That only fueled the perception that her rise after her husband's passing was not just tragic, but strangely convenient. Still, even her harshest critics couldn't deny that Erika was under unimaginable pressure. She wasn't just stepping into any job, she was taking over one of the loudest and most controversial organizations in the country. That meant leading massive events, managing staff, speaking at conventions, and facing the media on a weekly basis, all while raising 2 small children and dealing with relentless online attacks. Most people wouldn't last a week under that kind of stress. And yet, she didn't back down. Instead, Erika began leaning into her new public image, using social media more strategically, posting behind-the-scenes clips with her kids, sharing motivational messages, and openly addressing criticism. Every caption, every post felt carefully curated. Some saw it as empowerment, others said it was image control at its finest. But one thing was clear, Erika understood the modern media game better than almost anyone. As her following grew, so did the scrutiny. Journalists started digging into her business ventures, her speaking fees, even her personal investments. Suddenly, people were connecting dots that might not have existed, suggesting that she was using her influence for personal gain. A few viral threads even claimed that donations meant for charity projects were being redirected to cover luxury expenses, claims that were later debunked but still managed to leave a stain on her reputation. Once something goes viral, it's nearly impossible to fully erase it. But then something unexpected happened. Erika started gaining sympathy from people who weren't originally her fans. Even those who disagreed with her politics began saying that the hate directed toward her had gone too far. Online commenters noted how cruel some of the memes and conspiracy posts had become. Others pointed out that she had been through unimaginable loss and deserved space to grieve privately. Slowly, a counter-movement started forming, not necessarily in full support of Erika, but in defense of fairness and basic humanity. Through all of it, Erika stayed remarkably composed. She released statements focusing on forgiveness, unity, and personal responsibility. She said she wanted to lead through example and teach her children that strength doesn't mean bitterness. That line resonated deeply with many women who saw pieces of their own struggles in her story, balancing grief, judgment, and the pressure to appear strong when falling apart inside. Behind the scenes, though, people close to Erika described a different side, exhausted, emotionally drained, and constantly on guard. Insiders claimed she rarely sleeps more than a few hours at night, spending long hours reading messages from both supporters and critics. Some say she's terrified of being misunderstood, of saying the wrong thing and watching it spiral out of control online. And honestly, who wouldn't be?
These are Charlie Kirk's 5 truths that I heard him talk about over and over again. Are you ready? First one, feminism has failed women. First one, feminism has failed women.
Still, the controversies kept coming. Photos from events were dissected frame by frame. Who she stood next to, who she smiled at, what she wore, everything became a headline. Even something as small as changing her hairstyle became news. The scrutiny was relentless, and yet she never disappeared. In fact, she seemed to lean into it even harder, booking more interviews, showing up at more conferences, and expanding her reach through new digital platforms. That's when people started saying Erika Kirk had transformed from a grieving widow into a power player. Whether intentional or not, she had become one of the most recognizable women in American media. Someone whose name alone sparked debate, whose face alone drew attention. To some, that was empowerment. To others, it was manipulation. But it undeniably made her one of the most influential voices in the post-2025 political and cultural scene. At the same time, there's something undeniably human about her story. Imagine losing your partner, being left with 2 small children, and overnight becoming the public face of a national organization. You're being accused of things that never happened, called fake, manipulative, even heartless, all while trying to stay functional enough to get through the day. Most people would break under that kind of pressure, and yet Erika didn't. Maybe that's strength, maybe it's survival, maybe it's both. Still, the story of Erika Kirk is far from over. In fact, it feels like we're just in the middle chapters. Her every move continues to be watched, analyzed, and debated. The more she speaks, the more divided the public becomes. Some are rooting for her redemption arc, a woman who rises above the noise to redefine what leadership looks like after tragedy. Others are convinced she's scripting every moment, turning her story into a performance that blurs the line between grief and ambition. Either way, Erika has become a symbol, not just of controversy, but of the blurred line between public image and private pain. Whether people love her or can't stand her, everyone seems to be watching. On one side, people defend Erika Kirk, saying she's doing her best to keep going despite her loss. But on the other side, critics accuse her of using her tragedy for attention. They call her hypocritical for her comments about young women having children and claim she isn't qualified to lead an organization as large as Turning Point USA. Some point out that she went from being a homeschooling mom to the CEO of a multi-million-dollar movement almost overnight, with no major management experience. Then there's a third group spreading non-stop conspiracy theories. These are the people still pushing the already debunked Romania claims, saying she's having affairs with politicians or even hinting she had something to do with her husband's passing. Some even spread rumors she's expecting another child, though there's absolutely no proof. It got so ridiculous that Snopes had to make an entire page to debunk more than 15 false stories about her. Here's what the mainstream outlets don't emphasize enough. Several confirmed reports say that before Charlie passed, he personally told Turning Point USA leadership that if anything ever happened to him, Erika should take over. This wasn't a rash decision made in grief. It was his actual wish. And while people question her background, Erika's resume is more impressive than many realize. She holds a Juris Master's degree in American Legal Studies, is working toward a doctorate in Biblical Studies at Liberty University, and has successfully run multiple nonprofits and small businesses. She was already involved in Turning Point's daily operations long before she became CEO. What people often forget is the context behind why she's under so much scrutiny. Turning Point USA has long been one of the most controversial organizations in the country. It's faced criticism for giving platforms to divisive voices and stirring heated debates. When Erika took the top position, she didn't just inherit the role, she inherited every bit of that baggage. That made her an instant target for anyone opposed to the organization's mission. So, breaking it all down, the Romania accusations are completely false, thoroughly debunked by multiple fact-checkers. The rumors about secret affairs and pregnancy, also fake. But the backlash over her comments to young women about family planning, that's real and fair criticism. That's the part of this story that actually holds weight, and it's what continues to fuel the real debate surrounding Erika Kirk today. The questions about Erika Kirk's ability to lead Turning Point USA aren't coming out of nowhere. They're valid concerns. People have every reason to look closely at her rapid rise to such a powerful position. Still, the truth is that Erika Kirk is a deeply complicated figure navigating an almost impossible situation. She lost her husband in a tragic and public way, suddenly became the head of one of the most controversial organizations in the country, and now she's raising 2 small children on her own while half the internet either defends her or tears her apart. But here's what makes this story even bigger. Erika's situation exposes something deeper about how society treats public figures in the age of social media. Think about it. A woman experiences a devastating loss, and within weeks, people online start spreading outlandish stories about her. Somehow her pain became entertainment, her grief became content, and her name became a hashtag. And the worst part? These false stories always travel faster than the truth. No matter how many times fact-checkers like Snopes or PolitiFact step in to prove the rumors wrong, the lies have already gone viral by the time the facts reach the public. That's the reality Erika is trapped in, constantly battling false claims that never seem to fade. Still, let's be honest, some of the controversy surrounding her isn't entirely made up. She's made choices that keep her in the crossfire. When you accept leadership of one of the most polarizing political organizations in America, you know what kind of attention that brings. When you go on national television and tell young women to prioritize having children over pursuing careers, especially during a time when many people are struggling just to pay bills, backlash is inevitable. The truth is, Erika had a choice. She could have stepped back, grieved privately, and focused entirely on her kids. But she didn't. She chose to continue her husband's mission and take on the enormous responsibility of leading Turning Point USA. That was her decision. And with that decision comes scrutiny, both fair and unfair. What gets lost in all this noise is something incredibly human. There are two young children at the heart of this story. A little girl who still asks when she'll see her dad again, and a baby boy who will grow up only knowing him through photos and videos. No matter how anyone feels about Erika, those children are the ones who will carry the weight of all this public drama. Every rumor, every headline, every online debate. As for what's next, Erika shows no sign of slowing down. She's pressing forward with the American Comeback Tour, expanding Turning Point's initiatives, and appearing at major events across the country. Whether people support her or not, she's clearly not stepping out of the spotlight anytime soon. The real question now is, can she handle this level of nonstop pressure in the long run? Running a massive organization, raising 2 kids alone, and constantly battling both real and false criticism takes a toll. Only time will tell whether Erika can maintain her composure and balance it all, or if the pressure will finally start to break through that calm exterior. So what do you think? Is Erika Kirk, a grieving widow, unfairly attacked by the internet, or are people right to question her choices? Drop your thoughts below in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button, share your take, and subscribe for more videos where we separate fact from fiction behind the stories shaking the internet. See you on the next one.